Welcome to Somewhere in October. I'm Alex, and welcome to my new little horror couch. Listen, it's a work in progress. I barely have it like decorated and set up, but the show goes on. Today, I'm doing a themed ranking, and we are doing Canadian horror. So these are movies that are either filmed in Canada, were made by a Canadian, something to do with Canada, because oh my god, I'm even wearing red. I plan on doing ones all over the world. Bear with me, I only have so many hours in a day to watch movies, and I really like to take notes watching movies, so it's harder for me because I'm really trying to sit down and absorb it. But anyway, let's get into these four movies I watched. I'm actually not going to rank them in a particular order because they're so different from each other that I'm just going to tell you how I thought about them and how I felt, so let's get into it. There's not going to be spoilers in this video. I will use context clues, so if you've seen the movie, you will know what I'm talking about, and if not, maybe you'll be introduced to something you'll like. The first is Pontypool from 2008. This is a very interesting concept. This movie is zombie adjacent where you have infected, and it's about a man who works for a radio show. It's a man and a woman and another girl. And they're working on the radio show. They also have like a helicopter guy they call in on for the weather and stuff. And so they are all communicating through this radio show where people call in, they call people, and something starts happening. Something on the outside starts happening. And we are witnessing the learning and the understanding of what's happening through the form of a radio show. Now, I really love the concept, but I do think my expectations were a little bit too high. Because when I went on forums like Reddit, everybody would say Pontypool, Pontypool, Pontypool for Canadian horror. And I do think it's great, and I think the concept is fascinating. The execution just didn't win me over, and maybe it was just not for me. But it's because I think due to a limited budget, and for the concept as well, but everything really takes place in the studio. So you are hearing stuff, you're not necessarily seeing it. So what feels like a really slow burn doesn't really pick up pace. And when we hit the peak of understanding what everything was, it I don't know, it just didn't hit for me. Like I love the concept of what it was, but their discovery borderline cheesy for me. There was just something about it. I wanted to love this movie, guys. It's a very out of the box concept. I haven't really heard anything like it, so I think it's really cool. If you like zombies, infected, that type of thing, it's worth watching for sure. If you're looking for a lot of visual elements in that, you're not going to get it. The second from 2011, filmed right here in Nova Scotia, is Hobo with a Shotgun. Rutger Hauer is in this, so this was initially in the Grindhouse trailer, and I really just wanted to watch it. It's called Hobo with a Shotgun. I don't know how much I need to explain to you, but it's basically Rutger Hauer as a hobo with a shotgun, and he becomes sort of like an anti-hero. There's a lot of things going on. I don't want to give away anything. So Hobo with a Shotgun is not going to be for everybody. The horror is, I don't know if it would be slapstick. I would describe it as grimy, crude. It's one of those horror movies where some people will think they tried to just push the boundary to say they did it or for some sick reason. But when you make movies like that, I do understand that there's a very fine line between doing something gracefully and doing something just to push boundaries. But their effects were really, really great, and I honestly really enjoyed it. I actually really liked it. The only crude part that I just kind of laughed off was the dialogue. The dialogue is so just unserious and just bad, and definitely not for anybody who would take things to heart or would take issue with things, but I just like it went in one ear, out the other, laughed it off, and just really paid attention to the visuals. When you go in for the visuals, it's really, really great. The story itself is kind of bonkers, but I don't know. I actually enjoyed it. I thought it was really fun, and I think it's because it was so beautiful and the score was so good at times, and some of the effects were just really, really great. So I had fun with it, but I can tell you right now, I know it's not for everybody. But I didn't mind it. I didn't mind it. Okay? The story's a little bit bonkers, but I didn't mind it. The third movie, which is from 1980, is Terror Train. This is another slasher where Jamie Lee Curtis is running away from them. And this takes place on a train called Terror Train. The opening scene is crazy. And then we get into the story. This is a pretty fun slasher. I think it's a really cool concept on the train. You know, the slasher element is pretty good in how they're sneaking around the train and doing what they need to do. The ending is really, really great. but the pacing is so weird. I don't really know how to put it into words, and I think I said this in my letterbox review, but the pacing just is off. The intro sets the tone, then we start, talking up being on the train, and I get that, and we're exploring different relationships. But it's like the slasher comes out and then he's gone for a really long time, and then he's back and he's gone, and it doesn't flow the same way other slasher movies do. And I think it really, really hurts the movie, and I can't even make sense of what I'm saying, but there's something about the pacing that's off, but I do think it's worth a watch. So if you do like slashers and you haven't watched Terror Train, go watch it. And the final movie on this list from Lowell Dean, he did Die Alone, is from 2014, and that is Wolf Cop. I'm a sucker for a good Wolfman werewolf movie. You guys know this about me. When I heard Wolf Cop, it's kind of like Hobo with a Shotgun. You hear the title, you need to go in not taking everything too seriously, okay? You can have a lot of fun with these movies when you just go and you get on the same vibe that they're on. So you have to go into this because it is kind of a comedy, but it's also not trying to be hilarious. So I don't think you need to go in thinking you're going to laugh your ass off and also go in thinking you're going to be horrified. It's a Wolfman experience as a cop, Wolf Cop, okay? The story's crazy. There is a plot twist that really got me. So there are three things I think really make this movie worth watching. So I'm going to convince you. You're going to like one of these three. The first, the main cop guy, I think very similar to Wolf of Snow Hollow. He is not the most likable guy. He is an I don't know if he's an alcoholic, but he definitely has a problem with alcohol on the job, and he's a cop, so I think that might make you an alcoholic. I don't know. I don't, I'm not the one to tell you, but he has the same energy as the Wolf of Snow Hollow guy, so it's like you are weirdly rooting for him, but he's also not a great guy. But you know what? You're in for the ride. I'm gonna leave the best for last. But the second is, as you're going through this wolf transformation, he actually has somebody with him experiencing it. And unlike other Wolfman movies where it's either isolated or they're trying to protect someone or they're running away or it's very emotional, the guy that's paired with him is so good. I think the energy he brings to the moments really set the tone for the movie, and I think it gives a really cool spin on this Wolfman experience, the transformation experience. This brings me to point three. You have to watch this movie. If you like Wolfman, if you like werewolves, if you like those transformations, you have to watch it for the transformations. There are some really great moments in this. There are two moments in this that are unbelievable. I could not believe what was happening, but I thought it was so goofy and fun. And not goofy in like a silly way, a goofy in like, I cannot believe you guys did that. And I loved it. The transformation has a very interesting scene. We see a part of transformation that you never would have thought before. And we see the Wolfman do an act that I haven't seen any other Wolfman do. I'll leave it at that. So those are some Canadian horror movies. If you have other ones, let me know. Some other Canadian horror movies are already on my other list. I just wanted to group some together. Just like the Irish horror, I'm going to do different regions, but I figured doing Canadian and Irish kind of pay homage to me as a Newfoundlander. So I will do Newfoundland horror too. I'm just trying to find all the content to do that. And yeah, give me recommendations below and let me know if you've watched these, if you will watch these, and what you think. See you in the next one.